Welcome to the second edition of the Bald and Beard Show. I am Couz, and I'm here with my co-host, the Beard. I am the Bald, of course. For those of you watching, you can see the Chrome Dome. For you listening on podcast, I am the Bald of the duo. What's up, Beard? How you doing today?
Oh, pretty good. How about you?
I'm doing great, man. Appreciate you doing this with me again today. Fortunately, we weren't able to do it last week. Our schedules didn't work out, but here we are for the second edition of this new show.
Yeah, I enjoyed the first one. I think a lot of people did. We got a lot of good
Mhm.
comments out of it. So yeah, I'm glad we can continue to do this. And I told the listeners on mine, said we'll try to do at least once a week if possible, but at bare
Yeah.
minimum at least once a month, I would say. So
Yeah, we'll do as he and I both have we both do this on the side. We have full-time careers, so
right.
uh, we do it as we can. But anyway, real quick, let everybody know where to find you and your work, man.
Yeah, so you can find me on my YouTube channel. It's called the Trust the Beard Podcast, or search Earbeard, EERBEARD. Again, on social media, same thing, Earbeard, Facebook, X, Instagram, all that fun stuff. So, and Spotify and Apple Podcasts as well.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, so yeah, that's where you can find me.
And tell them about the beard rating index and what you're doing with that.
Oh yeah, so I got a second Twitter profile. It's called Beardology, BEARDOLOGI. Y was taken again, so I had to get creative. But that's where I run my numbers. I have my own college football rating system that I use. I put out every week, and some money line bets and things like that. I haven't got to it this week. It's been very busy, but I plan to get that out before most of the games kick off on Saturday. So you guys will have a good chance to look at it. It's a lot of fun. I enjoy doing it. I have Indiana ranked number one ahead of I forget who my number two is, but they've been pretty consistent all year.
Mhm.
So yeah, check that out if you're into the numbers, into betting lines and things like that.
All right, awesome. Let's go ahead and dive into some Mountaineer talk, man. First off, let's talk about the great recruiting week. They land a 5-star basketball player, the highest recruit in the history of the program as far as 24/7 Sports Composite goes, Miles Sadler. Then they back that up a couple of days later with a commitment from 4-star, one of the highest rated offensive linemen in the country, Mr. Kevin Brown, who's a legacy recruit. So, what are your thoughts overall on just these two really monumental recruiting wins for the Mountaineers in the same week?
Yeah, well, I think first and foremost, you got to give a shout out to our AD Ren Baker. And the reason I say that is, not that he's involved in the recruiting. I don't know if they can be anyway, if ADs can be, but he's the one that brought these coaches back to West Virginia. And it looks like Ross Hodge is just killing it out there on the recruiting trail. So far in the season, he's killing it on the basketball court, and then of course bringing Rich Rod back with the hard edge and all that stuff. But individually with these two recruits, I mean, I don't know that the Mountaineers have had a week like this. I couldn't tell you the last time. I don't follow recruiting that well, that closely, but maybe back when Huggins first started, you get
Mhm.
Eubanks and like Kevin Jones and
Yeah,
stuff like that.
right.
Um, but wow, what a monumental week! It just shows that both programs are moving in the right direction, and I would imagine in maybe next year, at least 2 or 3 years, you're really going to see the fruits of that, and just have a really competitive team.
Yeah, I was thinking, we see all the spending that West Virginia has committed to doing for athletics, committed to being in the top 5 of the Big 12 going forward. They've passed state laws now to help, move things around and bring
Mhm.
NIL in house and do other things. They went out and paid good money for a defensive coordinator. They're bringing in highly touted recruits that are, let's face it, these players aren't going to be cheap, right?
Right. Yeah.
There are rumored numbers out there in the high 6 figures for Kevin Brown. You know,
Yeah, I've heard
to
that.
what West Virginia had to do to get him, or at least be competitive in the NIL space. So it looks like they're doing what they can and maxing out their resources here to compete. Then on top of that, you see the recruiting wins. You see, the football team. You see them turning a corner. Yes, the season's not going to end where we wanted it to, but we've seen improvement. We've seen them playing with the hard edge. We've seen them playing hard and with great effort. The way the Rich Rod teams play. We see the basketball team with a 5-0 start for the first time since the Fred Schaus era, which is, or at least under a first year coach,
Yeah,
for the
first
first
year.
time since the Fred Schaus era.
I made that mistake.
Yeah. It's the first time they went 5-0 under a first year head coach
Yeah.
since Fred Schaus. And I think that was back in the 1950s, maybe 60s,
Yeah.
somewhere in back in there. So, I mean, a lot of, and we see the recruiting, Ross Hodge has 2 of the top 10 recruits ever in WVU basketball. He has 2 of them on the, one of them on the roster now, and Amir Jenkins. The other one just signed to come in for next season. So
Yeah.
he's killing it on the recruiting trail. We heard great things from Kevin Brown on the Old Grad podcast about how well Rich Rod and his staff are recruiting right now.
Mm-hmm.
The facilities, just everything seems to be moving in the right direction, man. So it's got me wondering, and I don't want to drink the Kool-Aid too much, but as a fan who remembers and was, uh, already a grown man by the time the early 2000s era hit, which was the heyday of West Virginia athletics. I mean, we had the basketball team was rolling, you had the football team rolling.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, all the way really up through 2010 when West Virginia made that Final Four run in basketball. Both programs were really good
Yeah.
for several years in a row. Best they've been in my lifetime simultaneously was
Right.
during that era, during that decade, from 2000 to 2010. Are we getting back? Are we this close, the Beard, from getting back to that? In your opinion?
I'll pull a Rich Rodriguez. I'll say, we got to get that close. I don't know if we're close to it, but I think we're taking the steps into the right direction. And you think about the program over the last, even the last few years of Huggins. I mean, you could see it was kind of getting stale.
Mm-hmm.
Really, right before COVID or that COVID year, you still had Deuce McBride on the team,
Mm-hmm.
things like that. I mean, we were rolling. I think I went to the game. We blew out or beat Baylor, who was highly ranked. I think they were top 10. It was like March of 2020 or something like that.
Right.
And of course, everything got shut down, and it never really got back on track. And then, of course, Neil Brown on the football side. I don't ever remember being this excited about the future. Now, when we had that 9-4 season in 2023, I got excited about football, but then, after the first couple games, that kind of went to the wayside. Basketball, honestly, there for about a 4-year period, there's a lot of games I just didn't watch because you knew how it was going to go. I was like, we just don't look good. Finally, last year, I really started to get into it. And of course, we know what happened with Darren DeVries, but I think you're seeing the makings of what was happening. Think of like 01, 02, 03 when Rodriguez and Beeline first got there. And I was going to do a show about this over the summer, and I didn't get a chance to, but I got all the numbers. And by far, that is like the most successful era between the two programs together, like side by side. And I think we're starting to see, again, the makings of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you can tell that by the recruits you're getting, right? It's one thing that a coach develops 2-3 stars into 4 or 5 stars, but then when you're getting 4 or 5 stars, I mean, imagine the development that these kids are going to turn into. And so, are we that close? Are we that close? I'm not really sure, but I think we are going to see significant strides, especially next year. I wouldn't be surprised for football if maybe we're like Cincinnati is. It's like we're vast improvements. Maybe we're not the most dominant, but we're hanging around, that top half, top 5, something like that. Basketball, we'll have to see. I mean, you still have a whole Big 12 schedule to go through.
Right. I wasn't referring to this season necessarily.
Well, but I just mean,
I think we're 1 to 2, maybe 2 years away.
Yeah, you
in
can
both sports from being really, really good again.
Yeah, you can see the seeds being planted for what's going for hopefully is going to be a successful. But I think we're on our way there. I know you don't want to drink the Kool-Aid, but
it's hard not to.
It tastes pretty good for
right now. It's hard not to, man. And you got 2 coaches who seem to be great fits. Fingers crossed, Ross Hodge actually sticks it out a while, right?
He seems like a guy that's going to. I joked with my wife the other day. I said, I think Ross Hodge is like Neil Brown in the press conference, but I think he's like Huggins, behind closed doors. He's got some fire to him.
Yeah, well, if you hear some of his players talk about, they said he coaches them really hard.
Yeah, and that's something that Rodriguez does, and that's something that Huggins did, and that's just that's something Saban does or did. I think when you see these really successful teams that just have a hard edge to them,
Mm-hmm.
to steal a line from Rodriguez, it makes a difference because if your talent's the same, right? If we're able to get the kind of talent that measures up to some of the best in the Big 12, well, what's your difference maker? Your
Right.
difference maker is that you have that no quit attitude and you're not going to give up and you're tough minded. And I think that's what these coaches bring.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I think Ross Hodge is one of those coaches that coaches really hard, but also loves his players really
Right.
hard too. And
And
his
I get
players and his players respect that about him, and they
right.
love him for it.
And I think Rodriguez is the exact same way.
He is absolutely he is. We've heard most of his old players talk about it. He's not the fire and all that you see on TV is only one side of him, right? You don't see, but once they're when they're off the field and behind closed doors, he's putting his arm, and we've seen it on the sidelines a little bit, right? He'll put his arm on around a guy or pat him on the helmet, or
Yeah.
I mean, he's not. It's not all screaming and yelling all the time, right?
But you like to see that.
I do.
That press conference he had after
That made me feel so good.
it did, because it's like he cares and he
Yep.
knows. And what's promising about it, and I've heard other people talk about it, is it's kind of like he knows there's something there,
Mhm.
and they didn't live up to their potential that game.
Exactly.
You had a chance to win that.
Exactly.
Probably should have. I don't. You can say this, that, and the other, woulda, shoulda, coulda, but it was definitely there for us to win. And
Absolutely.
and it wasn't something that Arizona State did to us. It was our inability to capitalize on those opportunities.
Right. Exactly. I was extremely frustrated after that game. I was trying not to be, man. But I couldn't help it. Once we got ahead late, I was so excited,
Yeah.
and then it was deflating that we lost. So it took me a couple days to get over that one, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I was kind of bummed for the afternoon, but I kept trying to go back to my mindset going into the season. Now,
Mhm.
I predicted, I thought we might go 6-6, 7-5.
Same.
And so obviously we're not going to do that. And that's fine. But I think if I keep in the mindset of not expecting everything out of this year, like, right, we weren't going to hit the ground running like it was '07. Like we just picked up from '07.
Mhm.
It's going to be growing pain. So, and then after, the Central Florida game, I was like, okay, like I can start to see things coming together. Guys playing for each other,
Mhm.
playing hard. The talent. Finally, Scotty Fox kind of came into his own a little bit. Um, so that's promising. It's like, we weren't going to win the Big 12 this year anyway. Would you like to make a bowl? Sure, but in the end, 5-10 years from now, you look back, you're like, are you going to be concerned that first year we didn't make a bowl when we're holding up a Big 12 championship trophy? You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
it's like, okay, this was the reboot, and it's going to take a year to adjust. But I can see it turning. Right, we weren't the
Yeah.
same team we were the first 4 games of the Big 12 schedule.
Exactly. And I think that's what gives us all hope. And it's one reason I was so disappointed in myself for getting so upset about that game, because I know the team. I mean, if you look back 4 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago, that team would not even have been competitive with Arizona State, right? So
Oh
I
yeah,
I I really, instead of being excited about being competitive and having a chance to win, I was mad that we lost it. But maybe that's a good sign, right? Because it shows that the team
you
is
have
now playing good enough to win games.
right, and you have an
And
expectation now. It's
correct,
not
the
just
expectation is there. And Coach Rod, obviously, going back to what you mentioned about the press conference, it shows he has it as well, and that's what you want out of your coach.
right. And I remember last year, was it Neil Brown's last home game? We played Central Florida. I went up with a friend of mine, and we just fully expected us to lay an egg.
Hmm.
And we're like, oh, wait for it, wait for it. Well, we actually won, and it's like you almost couldn't get excited about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you should be excited about a win, but it was like, yeah, but it doesn't really mean anything in the long run. Then of course the thing happened with Texas Tech, but
Right.
that's just the different in the mindset, and not to knock like Neil Brown or anything, but there's just a different energy, even with a
Hmm.
4. What are we, 4-6 right now? Or
Hmm.
yeah,
4-7. Yeah.
yeah, 4-7. Even with a 4-7 team, people are showing up, people are talking about it, and then you get a recruit like Kevin Brown, got that Cam Goforth out of
Hmm.
Tennessee. That kid looks
Yep.
like a bulldozer.
One of our DBs just got a bump to a 4-star. Vincent Smith, I believe, is his name.
Yeah.
He
So I
looks
mean,
really good.
things are moving in the right direction. I think that's the most important thing that fans can take away from these last 3 or 4 weeks. That
Yep.
there's something brewing here, and like they say, these teams better get their licks in now because it's not going to be that way for long.
Exactly. Yep. It's coming, man. It's coming. They are almost back.
Yeah,
They're on the way back. They're on the way back. That's the best way to
right.
put it.
And I'll tell you another thing that gives me a lot of, I guess, hope or excitement is, I listen to three guys with like Tony and Brad and Hoppy, and even Tony. He's pretty much stays level headed for the most part, right? I mean, that's kind of his job when he's assessing this stuff.
Correct.
But even he is saying, just wait, just give it time. He's going to get this thing going. And I don't ever know if I heard him say that about Neil Brown.
I don't remember either. Honestly.
I know a lot of people would say he made excuses for him, and I probably did too, and a lot of us did because we wanted more out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And we were just wait till this and wait till that. But this time around, it's like we've seen it happen, and he's done it everywhere he's been. Not to the level of 07 WVU, but he's had success. I mean, look what he did at Arizona. Arizona is not a football school at all.
Correct.
He won the Pac-12, or at least got to the
championship game. Yeah.
Who ever heard of Jacksonville State before? And he took an FCS team and won the conference title with it within 3 years. So, I mean, he knows how to coach. And like he said, he knows what he's doing. It's just a matter of time.
Exactly. All right, now we're going to segue into, you mentioned Scotty Fox earlier. So let's talk about what players that are on the roster today that are obviously not graduating, that have eligibility left, are the most important pieces to keep around for 2026. And guys who you're probably going to have to pay them some pretty good chunk of rev share and or NIL money. So let's go ahead and start there. Scotty Fox do you think they do what they need to do to keep him, or do you think they're better served spending that money on a transfer?
Probably a little bit of both, I guess. I mean, I think he is your guy moving forward. I know some people aren't ready to pull that trigger. I am. You've seen what this kid can do, and he's only a true freshman. I mean, he went down out to Arizona and threw for over 300 yards, and against a pretty good defense. You saw what he did at Houston on the road, who's a pretty good defense, right? They're not world beaters, like it's not Ohio State or anything, but they're good defenses. And you're seeing this out of a true freshman. So you're assuming, and I think it's safe to assume with Rodriguez, they're only going to get better. You think back to like Garrett Green after that 9-4 season, we're all thinking he's taking that next step, right? He's going to improve his pass completion. He's going to do this. And we just didn't see it.
Correct.
But I think with Rodriguez, it's a safe bet that these guys are going to only get better. I mean, we saw it in the season, right? This team almost did a 180 from how they were performing earlier. So I think he has to be your guy. One of the reasons is he's so young that you now can mold him into what you need.
Yep.
But I still think you go to the portal simply because of injuries, and he likes to run the quarterback. So you never know when something happens. You need somebody to back up. But I know the 24/7 guys did a whole episode. I don't know if you heard about it.
I did. I was actually going to mention that, so go ahead.
Yeah, talking about the cost of everything. And so it's kind of negligible whether you save money keeping Scotty Fox or going to the portal. But from my personal opinion, I think he is the guy you have to move forward with. And you still go to the portal so you have some depth.
Yeah. Yeah, they kind of made it clear that, hey, it's not going to be cheaper to keep Scotty Fox because there will be teams that want him.
Right, yeah.
Because he's a freshman.
Right.
Because he's shown how talented he is.
He's an investment for sure.
Yeah, correct. So there will be probably half of 20 to 25 P4 teams, I think is kind of what they guessed would be the number, that would probably love to have a player like Scotty Fox. And West Virginia is going to have to pony up some money probably to keep him.
Yeah.
And even though a lot of fans thought maybe, might get the hometown discount, so to speak, that may not be the case with him.
Yeah. You never know. I mean, if I was in college, I would probably have taken as much money. Of course, I say I'm loyal to WVU, but one of
Right.
these teams kind of flashing with $1 million, I
Yeah.
have to change my tune a little bit.
It might change
And
things, right?
that's generational. If you use the money correctly, you're changing your fortunes for your family, maybe forever. Who knows?
Yep. Exactly.
But regardless, if you have your quarterback, you're going to have to pay for it. I don't think we're going to be successful going the cheap route anywhere we try to find a quarterback, whether it's trying to keep Scotty or go to the portal. That's the one position you can't be cheap on, I don't think.
I agree, man. Quarterback is. I mean, we've seen it even like this team. I mean, once the quarterback play started improving, the whole team got better.
Yeah.
It
And I think
matters.
the next one I think is your O line.
Yes,
For
you
sure.
have to invest there.
Yeah, and
Do you think? Would you like to see him keep Cray? Do you think Cray and Livingston and Haslam are all keepers?
I absolutely I do, and one of the reasons why is cohesion and consistency. Right,
Agreed.
they've already been through the ringer. They've been through the winter workouts. I believe Haslam was already on the. I know he transferred in from Austin P.
I
Okay,
can't remember. I can't keep track of it,
I
man.
know,
There's so
right?
many
I
of them.
think that's where he came from, but they've been through the grind, so they know what to expect. And I think they're talented guys. And I think you at least keep that side of the line, and then you add in Kevin Brown and this go forth kid. Maybe I don't know if he's a day one starter as a freshman. He'll probably see some time, but I heard it on another podcast. Like it's easier to have to try to get just a couple linemen instead of trying to bring in a whole other unit again. But I think those three
Correct.
guys have shown enough. And I listened to. We're plugging all the podcasts here.
Yeah,
You ever listen to West by Pod?
I have. It's been a while, but I have in the
Smoking
past. Yes.
Mustard guys. They some of them are kind of big on like the PFF grades, and
Yep.
those three guys we're talking about, Livingston, Cray, and Haslam, have all graded out the mid 60s for this year, which is that's about average.
Yep.
I mean, they're not liabilities. I think they at least hold their own as far as that goes. So I think with another year, things like that.
Yep. Another year in that system.
And I heard. It was Whitey, Justin Williams talk about, how bad that O-line was in 01, that first year. Well, all those same guys came back the next year, and then we were leading the Big East in rushing.
Yep.
Because anything with the line, it's I mean, you want talent, obviously, but continuity is huge, right?
Continuity, experience,
they all have
strength,
to move together.
more time in the weight room, more time, you know what I'm saying? More time. Like Josh Iso or Malik Agbo, for example. Coach Rod talks about how he needs him to get heavier. He can come back. Josh Isosa can come back. Robbie Martin is going, he'll have 3 more years left after this one. Xavier Bosley has another year. There are a lot of guys who have been through the system.
Right. And he was a guy, Bosley was a guy that Rich Rod recruited to Jackson State or Jacksonville State. So, I mean, clearly there was something there. So hopefully he can come into his own. I think it was Matt Moore that always said you want about 8 guys ready to go. And I think we have it. I honestly, you don't want to point anybody out, but I think there's about 2 guys on the team that just aren't carrying the weight like they should. And, you're only as strong as your weakest link.
Correct.
And so I think if you can just replace those, I think we really have something there.
Agreed. All right, we don't have a lot more time, so we're going to do a rapid fire. I'm going to name off some guys. You let me know whether you think he should be, whether you would like, are they worth keeping? I guess, or I don't want to be disrespectful here. Are you willing to give them a pay raise? I guess would be to come back.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
All right, Jaheim White.
Well, 100%.
Dior Hubbard.
Yes.
Sincere Bowers.
Yes.
Cam Vaughn.
100%.
Astounding, yes. Okay, I'm agreeing with all these so far.
Find him ways to get the ball, and maybe, and I'll add a name real quick is Bray.
Yes, that's another.
I think
but with as injury prone as he is, though, how many teams are going to be courting him anyway? I don't know. It's
right.
An interesting conversation.
He may just want to stay anyway because that's his only shot.
But I would love to see him come back because having both of those guys on opposite ends, defenses won't be able to double team them anymore.
Right. I'll tell you that I'll say this before you rattle off any
Mhm.
more names.
Yeah.
I'll probably say yes to most of them, just
Yeah.
because I think continuity is so
I
important
I'm
in
the
your
same way.
success.
I'm the same way, and I agree with you on 100%. Defensive side of the ball, we need to you got Chris Phillip. Not a lot of guys on the defense that can come back, but you've got at least not that have played a lot. You've got, obviously Ben Cutter, Ben Bogle has really shown a lot in the last couple
Mhm.
games. Both of them can be back. I would like to see him add a little bit more speed to the linebacker room than what we
Yeah,
have now, but
yeah,
I do think by bringing both of those guys back would be important
yeah,
for continuity, for, again, having leadership, and they are good football players.
yeah,
Secondary, man, I'm not sure who can come back really.
yeah. I don't know.
Filippo at safety can come back.
Yeah.
That's really the only one I can think of off the top of my head. Keyshawn Robinson can come back. He's gotten a few snaps.
What's his name? We just turned him over to running back.
Oh yeah, Curtis Jones. He's
Yeah,
a big one. You want to
yeah,
bring him back for sure.
and he might just be a two-way player. I mean, who knows when you get
Maybe.
those short yardage situations.
Yep.
Um, Now, I'll ask one for you.
Yep.
And if he's eligible, Ty Edwards, do you think he's
At,
worth trying to fight for to come back? If he can do it, they may not let him. I don't know.
yeah, I was talking to somebody about that. I don't think he'll be eligible again, but if he is, definitely. I actually would probably take him over some of the guys we've already mentioned,
Yeah,
honestly. Just because of his size and what he showed in Pitt, man, his ability to break tackles and get yards after contact is immeasurable. And
yeah,
I think we need a guy like that, because there's really nobody else like that on the roster right now that
right.
has shown that. At least
I
not.
oh, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say not that I can. I mean, they've got that Jackledge kid, but he hasn't. He's not played. He's not played a whole lot yet. He's not
Yeah,
ready yet.
I'm kind of on the fence just because I know what a mess it was to try to get him on this year,
Hmm.
and if there's a chance that he would be eligible again, I just don't know if it's worth doing all that over
Yeah,
again, and then you get him in week
you
3.
you need some assurance.
Right.
Yeah, in my opinion. Real quick, we'll mention D line. Asani Redwood, I think, has another year of eligibility. I believe.
I would bring
I
him back.
think I think Corey McIntyre has another year.
Yeah.
Nate Gabriel. I think you bring up. Basically, I think you need to bring as many back as you can.
Yeah, that's kind of what my disclaimer was, is even if they're not heavy contributors, they're familiar with what you're
Yep,
doing. And
absolutely.
if they're not going to compete for a starting spot, they can at least be a locker room guy. You know what I
Correct.
mean? And I think that
Absolutely.
gets underrated. I'll give you one name. What about Clay Ash? Or do you think he might just stick around anyway?
I
Because he,
think he'll probably stick around anyway, but
yeah,
I mean, I'm not, I'm no offense to the young man, but he just doesn't. But man, he'd be a great leader though, and a great locker room guy.
yeah. It's one of those things. I'm glad I'm
And
not.
he's not a bad player either. I
No,
mean, he's
he's
done
not.
some good things.
But I'll tell you this, if he has the right mindset, right, that you need, that you want in your
Hmm.
locker room, he has the right attitude, you know, uh, whether he's like Steve Slayton or whether he's like, I don't know, pick a dud running back that we've had
Hmm.
before, Gwaltney. um, I think you keep him just for that reason. Like, I think it's
Yeah,
worth spending some money to keep guys that have the right attitude.
I agree.
'Cause the more players you have all moving in the same direction, you're only going to be that much better.
Agree.
Yeah.
Agree. All right. Well, listen, Beard, thank you for coming on, brother. We got a hard stop here. We have to hit, but I really appreciate you coming on. Everybody go check out his show at Ear Beard on YouTube, on
Yep.
podcast, on X. Check him out everywhere. Thanks again, brother. Enjoy the rest of your day.
All right, man. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Go
Take care.
Eagles.